Greetings, I'm Luz.
And I am Scandal.
And welcome to episode 11. Let's play a game together! Yes! I just about killed my friend. They were going to choke on our catchphrase. It was great. Anyway, so welcome to episode 11 of the Julian route, where we don't know what we're doing and we continue to try and solve it through logic.
Reiterations. By the way, we've now established, now we've confirmed it, and now you just have to see how it pays out with the episode. Oh wait, it's all there.
It's all there. All right.
Where to now, boss? What does the boa bristlebrush say?
Well, you see, when I place my ear to it, I hear a gentle crackling sound, like hermit crabs by the ocean. Oh. Ooh. I ignore his teasing aura and focus my energy on the object, holding it close, amplifying its vibration. Okay, guys, raise your vibration. Do it. Improve your life. This is it. We are improving the life of the hairbrush. The hairbrush will be good, and it will be happy and joyful and have a better life.
Uh-huh.
That way. I follow its lead, and Julian with Julian close at my heels.
And Julian closing my heels.
Yeah, I was gonna say closing on my heels, but I'm like, also he better be careful because he's got a much longer stride than I do, not to mention bigger feet.
He's like, whoo.
Our path takes us surprisingly far, to the edge of town, the edge of a deep forest. Are we gonna find out where Muriel hangs out now?
Into the woods we go.
Into the woods we go. To grandmother's house we go. The house is... Hang on, if we turn his cape inside out, he can be Red Riding Hood.
Yeah! So we're on our way to find the wolf.
Or I can be the wolf. I don't know. Look at Muriel's the wolf then.
Oh,
no.
So that's why it says we're on our way to find the wolf.
So, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
So there we are then.
Except he's probably more like a big dog, which is to say that he's Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier.
Which was my accidental apparent accuracy when I met him. So there we are. I would love to hear someone else's take on that, just so you know. Into the woods we go. It's starting to get dark. Okay, so we met him crack of dawn at his house, walked into the entire city, took him to the Coliseum, spent like 10 hours underground wandering around in the disgustingness, and then came up here. Either that, or we just walked a long-ass time, like hours and hours out of town to Muriel's house.
Maybe, who knows? It could be a combination of.
But anyway, the whole day.
Ha-ha! I knew it!
It was
You
so
should have
close.
ended that chapter soon.
Damn,
you
it was
were like,
so close.
stop, and I'm like, it's really going to stop soon. You're like, no!
Okay, so we're blind on this. Like, we do not know where we're going, what we're doing. So sometimes the cutoffs might be a little bit weird. We try and do a whole chapter, but if it gets to an hour, we usually just call it.
Yeah, we're trying real hard.
All right. Darkness sets upon us. As we enter the forest, swirling around us like a cloak, but not like Julian's cloak, which is stiff and does not swirl.
No.
Ahead, the path is swallowed by shadow. Gulp. And I just say, Shadow, would you kindly spit that back out again so that I can walk on it?
I'm sorry, I cannot.
Oh.
The guy over there had the sand soup first.
Damn. Maybe, well, you know what, let's just take a different path. Julian, let's take a different path, one that's not inside of darkness.
Right, I'm actually really afraid of the dark, so it's okay.
A softly glowing ball of energy floats beside us, illuminating the forest with a sickly white tinge. Why is that there, and aren't we worried about it?
Is it ours?
If it's ours, why haven't we talked about it or talked about creating it, since every other piece of magic we've ever done has been a real specific deliberate thing? Like if a glowing ball of light just showed up while the shadow showed up, etc., why aren't we mentioning this?
Hi.
And above us, the sky trembles. A few raindrops patter on our faces.
Or maybe it's a really damn weird firefly that continually burns its butt looking for a mate. Hey, you guys are shiny.
I don't blink, I just shine.
I love it when predators
Just
come
so
to
you
kill
know.
me.
Yeah, say fireflies don't shine, they blink.
Yeah, they do.
They have pulses of light.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The shining is an experience of all of them working together,
Uh-huh.
where you just see continual flickering lights.
They're going, hello, I'm hot. Hello, I'm hot.
Right
Me
now,
hot.
it's an improper storm. The beginnings of a proper storm.
Oh. I hate improper storms.
I'm
They
sorry.
just have improper pronunciations all day.
The sky trembles. It just, whoo, whoo. My womanhood trembles. My sky trembles. The goddess is trembling.
My inner goddess is trembling.
Oh God, my storm goddess is trembling. Thor, you make my storm goddess tremble.
Thor and then that was impressive. I'm sorry, thanks.
Julian squints up at the clouds because, he's blind with only one eye. The storm mirrored in his face and then looks dubiously down at me. We are always so short. We are really short. Anyone who has made their protag tall, you're wrong.
At least according to the game. And you can make your
According to the
protect as
game.
tall as you want. That's fine. I just kind of giggle all the time myself going like, we are like this big.
We're so short.
What are
Everyone
you? Taller than Mazalinka.
looks down to us.
And slightly taller than Portia.
Maybe.
And that's about it, maybe.
Maybe. We may be the same height as Portia.
No kidding. You're sure that spell is working properly? I doubt anyone lives out here in the spooky forest.
Yeah, well, my hairbrush spell is irrefutable, so back off.
No one wants to be, no one who wants to be found, at least.
Clearly he doesn't want to be found. What do you think all that was about?
What do you think you do?
But also, like...
I am emotionally unobtainable, and I like shitting on other people for doing the same thing I do.
Hey, Julian, you know you're a flirt, but you're also emotionally unavailable, and whatever else notwithstanding, emotionally unavailable is not attractive for long-term commitment.
It's true.
Julian's right. The only reason someone would live in these woods is if they wanted to be alone. And every time I've met this person ever before, they wanted to be left alone, so that follows.
There's also the possibility, too, that somebody literally living out there is going, I'm trying to escape the life, and the only way people know me is if this is the Scourge, which is Muriel at this point,
I assumed
is
it was
simply
Muriel.
because, I'm sorry, like, that sucks.
Yeah, and it's really hard to reestablish yourself sometimes.
Yeah. Like, you basically have been criminalized for a life in a lot of ways you also didn't have control over. I'm also like, if Lucio really screamed that across the crowd, that's rude as shit.
Yeah.
Like, you literally
It's
also
going-
just told everyone going, he's a prisoner and he can't do anything about it, and I'll do the same thing to you.
Also going, why would people hold it against him if Lucio made it so freaking clear that I own him and am making him do this? Like, it would make sense that a lot of people still would, because some people go, it doesn't matter. You're
Well, you've
responsible
killed
for
my
your
family,
actions,
yeah.
even if. But there are also a lot of people that are sympathetic to that, just in the spectrum of things, going,
Uh-huh.
you were a slave and you did as you had to save your own life.
Uh-huh.
And some people would argue, yeah, you should have just died, but you know, there you are.
Well, that's also the complexities of morality,
But
actually.
again, spectrum, you're going to have people on different sides of it.
Right?
It's a perfect place to run away from it all. That actually didn't sound that distant, but I loved that thunder. Okay, I am enjoying the sound design of this game. Like, it's subtle, but it's there, and I like it.
Uh-huh.
Distant thunder rolls over the horizon, and suddenly the sky breaks, pouring torrential rain down onto our heads. I immediately get under Julian's cloak, because I am
He's like, "We're
short
fine."
enough to do so.
He's like, oh, here, come on.
And he just gently lifts his arms up and pops it over his head, and we're fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Julian shouts something, but the words are swallowed up by the noise. With a grimace, he wraps an arm around my shoulders and ushers me off the path.
We're following.
The path we're following,
Yep.
into the shelter of the trees. Sorry, that
No, that
it's
got
like
dyslexic. I saw that
it
happen.
was like a garden path sentence. I thought it was going somewhere else.
Hey, you're right.
My magic tugs us further into the dense foliage, an invisible string leading us along.
Wait, so he took you off the path that you were following, and now suddenly you just find another path? Oh, sorry, that sounds...
Or I just started going through the foliage instead of the path, following the same direction, it sounded like.
Alright, cool.
Wow, someone built that a long damn time ago to get that tree on top of it.
No kidding.
Like, woo. Or you just dug into the mound under the tree and then built it under the roots, which is a feat of architecture without the tree collapsing on you. Like, damn.
Wow.
Wow. Anyway, either way, impressive. Good job. To a hut made of rocks, covered in moss. It's nestled behind some trees, dilapidated and old.
And also under a tree.
And under a tree. It should be behind trees. If you're in the forest and there's anything between you and it, it's behind trees.
Like, no kidding.
Like, that happens
that
in
seems
forests.
a little redundant.
And the string stops tugging, right at its door. This is where the magic wants us to be. This is where the hairbrush lives. Hairbrush, I will return you home.
Hairbrush, go home. I think this is the place. Mr. Scourge, are you in there?
Julian knocks, but there's no answer. After a moment, he tries the door. It swings slowly open. He kicks it down! Hello! It's like Basilinka's place. Okay, so more breaking and entering. I'm just like, he just tries the door. Going, you really are comfortable breaking in. Is that the only way you know how to go into
It's
places?
okay, he's like a more sexually aggressive Hastings.
Hastings?
Captain Hastings?
Oh,
from
God.
Poirot.
Just breaks open all the
Everyone
doors.
going in.
Going,
Hello?
I will just check in all the areas. It's just fine. I just break in.
Oh, well, no use staying out here in the rain. Might as well head inside.
The door's not locked. I'm torn. I would tend to say if we wait in the rain, based on our current medical technology, we could catch pneumonia.
However,
That's breaking and entering.
excuse me,
On the
while I
other
sneeze.
hand, like, it depends. We don't know the rules of this country very well. Like, as nerd, we have no idea what hospitality laws are, what kind of, like, wayfarer, like accommodations they have. A lot of times it's the The weather out here is bad. Oh, come on in. You're a stranger at my door. Like, it's fine.
Right? Well, especially in, like, I know some cultures do it, they have done it and did it quite a lot. I don't... It was actually one of the big reasons, actually, where some of the original vampire myths even came from, of going be afraid of the... Like, it was part of that era of starting to actually be afraid of the random wayfarer, that they're going to come in and eat you. They'll drain your body, your life. They'll take things away from you.
Right, going, they're dangerous. And there is that idea. But at the same time, there's also hospitality of, help the stranger. And you may get something better from it. You may be blessed for it, even.
You see, what the thing was that you took care of a fae, and the fae went... Well, thank you.
I will bless you in the way I know, which is going to be way outside of what you would normally expect. So I'm a little torn on this, but I would tend to say, based on the fact that we have demonstrated ourselves to be a delicate and fragile snowflake, we should probably get out of the rain. The rest of it, I don't know. What would you like to do?
I'm leaning, honestly, more towards we should wait, but let's go.
We can just wait.
I get your point for both of them. Like, I really do. Like, that's actually the thing. Like, I get both of them. Like, I'm more comfortable with we should wait, but that's because I think mostly of me. And I'm having your problem, too, of what's frustrating me and this is about the Arcana's general writing of going, there's a lot of basic assumptions that it's making, and it's not explaining them to us very well, because it's also taking from so many different sources.
We haven't been able to catch the tone of this game well at all. A lot of times when we're trying to make a decision, we'll look at the outcome of it and go, that wasn't what we were thinking it meant at all.
Yeah.
So... what do you think, friend? I would think also, since we've had to be invasive with him every single time, that he's never going to answer that door. He will stay in there and die of starvation rather than answer the door based on his social anxiety, if we wait.
All right, it's Muriel. Yeah, let's just go.
All right, let's go. Why not? Let's go. We're not likely to find any better shelter from the storm, and this is where the magic led us.
And the thing is, you are also looking for answers. It's true. And going like, I need you to be here.
Have a relatively limited amount of time based on the pressure being applied to us, and the fact that there's this impending fall experience.
Right? So I like to hear a proper sense of adventure is important in life, but not to the expense of your own damn health.
Or safety.
Like... So the thing that I hate in some ways, like, Julian is interesting to me, because in a lot of ways, like, the whole thing, I was actually laughing to Lies about it in between episodes, of where I went, oh my god, you sound so much like every single white action hero I've ever seen. They went, yes, hit me, and then they get hit, and then they bleed, and then they show up the big guy that tried to take them down. And then you get more delight out of, I got my revenge boner. But it was really weird.
The last episode was a little wild.
I was like, this is a little strange. And then him also going in a proper form of adventure. And I'm like, that also feels basically, to me, like toxic masculine culture, which in our, like, historical working experience has been terrible to interact with in fields, especially where they're going, like, your physical safety is super paramount. But they go, oh, but it's fine. Like, we used to argue with a lot of people in charge, or even people who were on lower levels who'd been inundated with this idea that, well, we don't need a guard for over here. People will just know not to stick their hands there.
So we used to work in manufacturing, and there are a lot of very dangerous things in manufacturing, and one of the big things was really an idea of here's safety that will protect everyone, and then also the male culture going a lot more of the direction of, well, it's not rocket science, just don't put your hand in there. But we have proven throughout history that you can't just have people not put their hand in there. At some point, their priorities will get scuffed. They'll try and save some product or some jam, and they will hurt themselves.
They are taught to put their job above themselves. Like, you need to protect and save the product, because they have been taught that if you lose this product, that is money you are never going to be paid, even though that's ridiculous.
He swings the door open wide and then gestures me in. Why is he sending me into a foreign place first? It's not very gentlemanly of him. Not that he's the most gentleman ever, but he's like, nerd, here. Well, also, what happened to the floating ball of magic? Was it just somewhere in the forest? Was that really supposed to be a firefly experience?
I have no idea what
it just went away. This feels like the cat. He just threw the cat on the ground when he stood up. Poor baby. It really does. Anyway, I'm like, he leads, he gestures for us to enter first after saying, I want to protect you. Like, his last display of I need to interact with you was, I will get in there and protect you and I need to be useful. And now he's like, walk into the strange dark place first, my dear. It's a little weird.
It does seem a little bit contradictory in terms of character. I wouldn't necessarily call that necessarily strictly male culture. That idea of going here, let me take care.
But for him, just for him,
for what he just said. Yeah, sounds a little weird. Is that, after you, my dear?
And in we go. Well, there's a fire. Muriel would have died of starvation in here, trying not to get outside by social anxiety.
Kidding.
The interior is nearly as damp and dark as the forest outside. Look at those roots.
It looks great.
They look like they're growing out of the rafters, some of them. Like the rafters almost are... That's a fascinating house. Good job. Well done. Looks beautiful. As dark as the outside forest. There's not much to look at. It's decidedly sparse. It's almost Spartan, you might say. Roots from the great tree creep across the roof.
Twining.
with the support beams, slowly reclaiming the structure. Okay, so like this is one of the ones that just really closely matches what's been described, and I like that. I love it when the words and pictures line up. However, that thing in the fireplace looks like a bomb. Like it looks like a sealed
It doesn't look like a cauldron
sphere.
very well.
It really does look like a sealed sphere, like not a cauldron. Like I don't know what it's supposed to be.
It could be the best thing he could get. It could have been a poor design if we're talking about somebody who's not...
And it could be inexpensive, what have you. But I'm just like, that is wild looking. It looks like a wrecking ball. I came in like a wrecking ball!
And I slayed some people and I felt real sad.
And I felt really sad. There are still embers in the small sooty fireplace at the far end of the room, but they burn down almost to nothing. Okay, it almost matches, but your light's still really pretty.
It is really pretty.
Seems like it's been a few hours since the hut's occupant was home, or since they tended the fire.
Cozy, isn't it?
Maybe.
I mean, if it's supposed to still be kind of wet, I'm actually not seeing a lot of that. But
he could be mocking. That could have been sarcastic.
No. I said that earlier, like we described it as wet.
That's what I mean. But he also could have been like, cozy, isn't it?
That's why I said that. Yeah. That's fine.
Strangely enough, he doesn't have to stoop as he enters. The space is cramped, but the ceiling is high. Finally! Someone else as tall as you are!
Ha! You've been challenged.
I say that you would have had to stoop under the door, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's something so familiar about this place.
Oh, no.
But since I don't know that part of my memories are missing, which I only know from the prologue, I don't know what else is going on.
Right. Look, it's like he's still living here, at least. Don't see any weapons around. You think he's giving up on the head chopping business? I mean, if he's out in the middle of the goddamn woods, what do you think?
Okay, dear, you told us that the Colosseum's been closed down for a long damn time since Lucio died. So where would he have been chopping heads if that was his profession?
You know, across the sea in a magical made up... I don't know. Maybe like he was chopping fish heads or something. You don't know what heads I was talking about. Maybe pigs? Chickens?
Gone into butchery from his butchery.
That was probably a little bit too close.
Maybe a little bit too close.
But I don't really know the guy. So I honestly, like you were suggesting that probably would really hurt his feelings, actually.
So I'm just suggesting as a reader that you would already know this since you're the one that explained the Colosseum to us.
I know! I'm like, why doesn't he know? I was fine.
If we weren't explaining the Colosseum to you, that's all.
It's okay.
Julian looks around the hut, examining what few artifacts there are inside. Everything is ancient. There's a little carved bear statue standing in a small alcove of the far wall. That sounds adorable.
Is it there?
Is that a bear? No, that's a goat. That is the goat.
Is that a goat or is that a cow?
Bear's
right there. Bear's right there.
There's the bear. We found the bear.
We found a bear.
The bear is like a polar bear, like up over the bed, just so you know. Also, it looks like he's in the damn bed, just so you know.
No kidding.
It's brown and mottled. No, it's not. It's white and a polar bear.
Yeah, I remember.
With a sad grimace painted on its worn face. The paint is faded around the edges. Okay, well, it looks white from here.
So maybe it used to be more brown? So
maybe.
it was painted brown, but that seems...
Could be.
Is that... Huh, I got one just like it.
That's interesting.
That's forebode. Okay, well, Asra did... So in the prologue, we don't know about...
Okay, so in our headcanon prologue, Asra dated everyone, so they could have things in common. He was the previous protagonist.
He really was. So in the game of Solitaire...
So in the game of Solitaire, maybe he gave them bears, maybe the bears were a dating experience kind of thing. Maybe it gave them something in common. He also had to wipe everyone's memory because it just all went bad once they all knew, you left me to go date the other one, you left me to go date the other one, you left all four of us to go date the other one, and he's finally like, this isn't working out the way I thought it would.
But damn, I just wanted to know.
I just wanted to do all the roots, you know? As a gamer, I wanted to see them. And now you're all sad.
Are you calling Asra a goddamn gamer, bro?
We might.
That's so bad.
I'm a completionist. I had to do every route.
Oh, that's so horrific. Mine's a raven, though. Asra gave it to me.
Yes!
Yes!
Asra! Yes.
Yes.
Asra sits there and does carvings for his exes.
He really does.
I open my mouth to respond.
What a sneeze.
Because I also have a small wooden carving. And then I sneeze. It overtakes me instead.
Oh, are you cold?
See, we were going to get pneumonia out there, I tell you.
Yeah, okay, you're trying. You should have told me, nerd. I don't want you to suffer on my behalf.
I know.
Come on, let's get you warmed up.
Are you going to rebuild the fire? Only if you join me. Again, these don't matter, so I'm guessing that would be sort of just
We're making out in the bed and being really awkward in somebody else's damn house? Like,
okay,
really?
So one could argue for the horny under distress thing of, we're in a foreign place, we don't know when the person's going to be there. This is literally the Scourge, most murderous person we know. He's like on pain of his life, kind of thing. If we could be like, now is the time to make out. The more danger you are in, the more likely Julian is to want to bone.
And that's the only circumstance. God,
Now,
I can't imagine
this-
getting married to him and then going, wow, and then nothing happens and you completely clear his name. And
Guess
there's
what?
nothing
You're not in
interesting.
any danger, and you can have those nice dinners you imagined with Portia and me, and you just have almost no sex drive because you're so comfortable. It's great.
And then in some ways you probably become slightly dissatisfied because you're so also used to that amount of sexual tension and frustration. And then going,
I will say, though, that this one's not his fault because it's us going only if you join me. Anyway, I'm just going to say thank you. I don't care.
yeah, I don't care enough either. It's fine.
Thank you. I have not been, like, invested in those scenes.
Don't mention it. No, really, please. You'll embarrass me.
Now, every time I see anyone, I act like your mom. So, you know what? One time, Julian built a fire for me.
Right?
Julian gives me a wry smile and rummages around in the hut, gathering furs up in his arms. I feel deeply uncomfortable about this. This is someone else's house.
Yeah, no kidding.
He comes back and drapes them over my shoulders, still really uncomfortable. Softly, tentatively, he lifts his hand and cups my cheek, thumb brushing away a drop of rain. What about the fire, dude?
Nerd.
He leans in slowly. I can feel his breath on my lips. Okay, now this is him, horny under distress.
Yep, pretty much.
And... Yes!
I knew it!
Okay, how come water is not sheeting off you, my dude? You should be soaked.
Also,
Like-
you are,
Soaked.
like, yep, you are big shoulders, tiny head man. My favorite archetype.
You do not have a lot of head, dear. A figure bursts into the hut with a flash of lightning. With a flash of lightning. Not as the lightning flashes. With a flash of lightning.
Damn.
Kicking the door open
storms.
forcibly. He used to hang out with Mazalinka. He just kicks the door open too.
Who wouldn't?
Julian flies away from me, shock painted on his face, and casts his gaze around.
About.
About.
It's very obvious.
It's about.
A bit.
I tense, ready to dart if I have to. Where? He's in the damn doorway!
Where are you gonna go? Into the fire.
Ready to dart up the chimney!
When you're playing in Santa Claus, you will know.
Ready to dash out of the furs cartoon style, grab Julian by his belt and drag us both up the chimney. Foosh!
Muriel,
What was that?
I have water running down my pants. What was that?
What was that? I just came in to get dry.
I can't
also,
see because the lightning is flashing outside.
We also get stuck halfway up, tangled in the roots. That was me. Okay.
And you want me to do it?
No, I got it. No, you're gonna have to play it when we do that route if I stay nerd.
That's fair. That's
so
fair.
let me have my moment.
All right.
Let me have it.
I'll let you have your single moment of playing James Buchanan Barnes, puppy dog extraordinaire.
He looks adorable. Sorry, this is my idea of adorable. What are you doing here?
Who? Us? Wow, you're a big one, aren't you? Mr. Scourge, I presume we've been looking for you.
That's not my name. Get out. He lumbers further into the hut, a hulking figure that seems to take up all the space in the cramped room.
He's huge. Julian's finally like, I have been dethroned.
Julian's like, okay, so not only in height,
Uncle.
but also in bulk. You are like twice the man I am.
I actually love that thing where they described Hagrid and somebody really broke it down of going, he's described in the book as being like twice as tall as a man, and then he's twice as wide as well. So he's like
12 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and his hands are the size
of trash can lids. Do you know how big that is?
like a circular trash can lid. Like his palm is gonna be like 12 inches across, and then you got finger span. Like, biggest spider you've ever seen, dude.
But I love people trying to illustrate it was the damn funniest thing. So we're saying this guy is so big.
That he makes Julian look small. It's fine.
Julian's like, whoo!
But now that he's closer, I can see something in his arms. A shaking bundle of fabric and fur? The man notices me staring and glares, arms tightening around
I mean,
me.
with his arms hanging by his sides, it's like it's hard to tell he's holding anything. Sorry, I'm kind of teasing on the artist here because there's nothing to really see. So.
He needs to have his arms crossed like Julian always does. That's what he's got going on.
Because then otherwise it could like pop up his pecs.
I don't know. His pets are pretty firm. He'd have to get way up there.
How do you
so-
think? Hang on. No.
Julian?
What do you have there then?
An answering whine from the bundle, and then a head pokes out of the cloth. Is it a puppy?
It's a puppy.
Oh,
Yes!
it is a wolf. A wolf.
And we found the wolf.
Its sable fur is spattered with flecks of blood. A maw, dripping vicious red on
Viscous.
the floor. Viscous. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm dyslexic. Nice to meet you.
Oh, well, hello there. Is it hurt?
The man nods very, very slowly, staring at us warily. You won't hurt it more, will you?
Well, lucky for you, I'm a doctor then. Maybe I can help it. Not I've ever dealt with animals.
Julian, are you actually confident in your own skill for 2 seconds? Can I give you a gold star for believing in
All right,
yourself?
everybody, time to dunk on Lies for ruining the moment because he's immediately going to shit on himself.
Oh, but I... No, keep your hands off her. He sets the wolf down very gently in the furs. The fire is already running low again. Wait, we didn't stoke the fire.
We didn't stoke the fire.
There was just coals there.
Oh my god, it's assuming we bought the premium option.
It did.
So this is the thing where sometimes I'm
so
like...
someone's told us that the premium options don't matter, but if it's saying that the fire went down and the premium option would be the fire, then
I know we
choose
can
it
do
either
it.
way.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like then I should go back and go figure it out. But I'm like...
Why? That doesn't make sense. We didn't stoke the fire at all.
Yeah.
And if it assumes you do every premium option,
Oh, God.
then nothing can be affected by what you do or don't do anyway. Which is sort of disheartening.
That's frustrating. Anyway,
All right, so the fire's running low again, even though we didn't stoke it.
that's fine.
He hovers over her, nearly covering her body with his own. I feel very self-conscious, wrapped in a bunch of his furs.
Mm-hmm.
Is he trying to keep her safe from us? Try talking to him. I am not going to try and get under him and comfort that wolf.
The thing, though, is that I don't... So the thing is, through him, unfortunately, I think, like, you cannot talk to him. So, like, with Newt Scamander in...
You can't talk directly to him. You both have to have a conversation about the animal.
Yes.
Okay.
So what you're doing is with somebody who's traumatized and is not and is suspicious of you, sometimes being like, hey,
I won't
what's
talk
up
to you. I'll talk...
Yeah, to the thing that you're concerned about.
Okay, I like that. Because
Like-
I know he doesn't want to talk to us. Like, I know he doesn't want to talk to us.
Yeah.
He didn't want to talk to us in the marketplace in, like, the prologue or anything.
Yeah, so I'd be like, don't talk to the guy. Don't.
So
do
I'll
something.
just assume that smart enough that I won't try and crawl underneath him to the wolf to comfort it, that I'll just talk to it nicely from across the room.
Right?
Talking with the lumbering man isn't working. Good job.
Except we
Well
haven't
done.
tried talking to him at all, but thanks.
No, only Julian has. But I know Julian can help her if he can just get close.
How do you know? I'm fine.
Because we believe in him, that's why.
I'm sorry, I'm not believing in Senpai because Senpai's used to dealing with humans.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's shit at dealing with humans. Maybe he's better with animals.
Well, you know, he's the flesh mechanic?
Maybe organic mechanic.
Organic mechanic. I was like,
Maybe he did most of his like internship and study on animals, and he is better with them. It's just not what his profession is. Hey.
Actually, considering the time period, that would make a lot of sense.
Yes. Instead, I turn my attention to the wolf, slowly approaching
Also,
her.
I've got to say, reading the on the heart and the flow of blood or whatever the heck it is, that book is hard to freaking read. So it's an old textbook actually, and I read it in high school. And damn, it is uncomfortable. It's interesting, but it's an actual account of basically what they used to do
to learn about how organs worked inside the animal's body.
And it's a little graphic, but yeah, like Eliza's like
the man tenses as I come closer, the muscles in his back bunching up, which I can totally see from the front. What are you doing? I raise my hands, still focused on the wolf, and reach out slowly. He moves in front of me just as the wolf snarls, rearing back and whining. We are bad at this. Don't touch her.
nerd?
Julian looks at me helplessly, gesturing vaguely at the man. What does he expect me to do? I only have one idea to get him to cooperate, except for I'm not talking to the wolf or interacting with her at all. I'm just moving towards her. Asra sent us. He said you could help.
Maybe it was the better out. I'm not.
Maybe talking to him was better. I don't know.
I'm like, he wasn't answering though. I don't feel like he...
On the other hand, again, we hadn't talked to him, so it might not matter. I don't know. Color paints his cheeks as I say Asra's name. He is also an ex. I'm not sure if he's angry or just embarrassed. Every one of them going, I dated him, and it was sad because it ended. Then, after a long moment of tense silence, he slowly moves away from the wolf and allows Julian to approach. She whimpers, ears pinned back on her head, but makes no move to attack. Julian takes his gloves off. They creak protestingly, setting them gently on the floor, standing them.
They're like little... They rattle slightly, you know, it's like the little cardboard tubes, they go...
Yeah, he just stands them up so little fingers are just in the air. It's fine. Deep gouge in her side. Whoops, I missed it. Sorry.
It's fine.
There was a deep gouge in the wolf's side, but I wasn't reading, I was acting.
Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
He strokes the wolf's head, murmuring low to her. There's a spark of nostalgia in his eyes. He has better bedside manner than I do.
You must be in a lot of pain, aren't you?
Julian closes his eyes, hands pressing lightly on the injured areas. Are you going to take her wound too? Oh God.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Yep.
The mark on his throat glows. Hang on. Do you do any other kind of doctoring at all now that you have this curse?
He literally asked, I wonder if the thing is he went, I literally need something to prove that I can do something. Because if he couldn't heal anybody, so considering he was connected to the plague, what he possibly asked Asra for, despite the fact that I still think it was stupid, is going, I need a way to be able to guarantee to help people because I've seen so many people die, I cannot handle this.
And it doesn't matter what it costs me. All right, the mark on his throat glows, and I know what he's doing. I've seen him do it once before. To me, with an eel bite. Blood blossoms on his arms, long, deep gouges like talons scraped across the skin.
Did he roll up
What'd
his
you do? Get attacked by a griffin? Also, how can we see your arms over your sleeves?
Aha!
Then they too already begin to heal, slowly sealing in front of me. The man surges forward, dropping down beside the wolf once more to check on her. He opens her mouth, examining her teeth, and checks her eyes and ears as well. Did Julian's eyes and ears have trouble?
I don't know.
Does his mouth start bleeding?
Does he have parasites?
Finally, he settles back, seemingly satisfied. What did we just heal? Thank you.
No problem. It's what I'm here for.
Julian smiles and stands, swaying a little. I rush forward to support him and lead him over to sit on the rickety stool. I fling the furs off of me and race over to him and lead him to the stool.
You can pretty much. Oh, that's smart.
Again, if his gloves are off, that's fine, but how did we see his arms? Did he roll up his sleeves? Or
No
did we
kidding.
see the blood through his sleeves? How did you see it heal then? There's a long moment where none of us speak, quietly processing what just happened, which I am surprised now that I can see better now that I wasn't the one that was hurt.
So, you're the Scourge of the South then, aren't you?
I don't do that anymore.
Oh, clearly. So, do you have a name then?
Muriel.
Ah, Muriel. Strong name. I'm Julian, and this lovely vision is Nerd. We haven't met before, have we? Yes.
You said Asra sent you. Muriel slowly turns his gaze towards me, a doleful look on his face. He doesn't quite meet my eyes.
In a roundabout sort of way, he didn't exactly give us directions.
He also didn't send you, he sent me, and I brought you along.
No kidding.
How did you find me, then? We used this.
This thing.
I pull the boar bristle brush from my pack and place it gently down on the table in front of us. When did I put it in my pack? I was holding it in my hand when we walked in the hut. Did I then
Also, we have a pack?
shiver and put it in my pack? Since when do we have a pack?
That's what I said.
I was like, no, because she gave us a bag with food in it, which we haven't touched all day, so maybe that's now my pack? Because Mazalinka gave us a bag with food?
Maybe?
Is that my bag? My pack?
Maybe?
Is that a pack?
I don't know.
Muriel looks nearly stricken. He reaches out, taking it delicately in his hands, and stares at it. He almost touched me. I freeze. Then he throws it into the fire with a scowl. Ping! Sorry, off the pot.
I know.
Where did you find that?
We had ourselves a jaunt under the Colosseum. Picked up a few souvenirs.
Yeah, like a broken skull? Sorry. At the mention of the Colosseum, Muriel's entire demeanor changes. There's a sudden, palpable tension in the air. And what did you find out at the Colosseum?
So here's my question then. So basically, based on that, if I'm going to read that correctly, that was not the right response. But basically, of going like, so what he's looking for then, in terms of trying to interpret character for Muriel specifically. Oh yeah, and we figured out his name was Muriel. Thank you, Heartseekers, for ruining that.
Yeah, the only reason we knew his name was because of the stupid little Heartseekers game, which we didn't know was going to be full of not only visual, but informational spoilers. And we really are trying to just play this game, so that's such a personal thing if we didn't really want to know anything about it before we started. But Heartseekers was like, here are all the characters, here's what they look like. We find out that Lucio exists and that he's alive, and we're going, okay, thanks.
Yep, but the thing is, so in regards at least to the character himself, so based off of that response, and again, I don't know if it's a right answer or wrong answer, a lot of this stuff is very gray anyway. Like you could, like I said, I could make an argument for going for the animal would make sense, because he's non-communicative, he doesn't want us there. But also at the same time, too, some people could read that very much as going, you're disregarding me in my space, in my area, and you completely ignored me. So what I need is for you to be blunt and honest and open with me, rather than trying to dodge around me and going at something else.
Don't be clever with me. Get to the point. I'm not a man of many words.
And also I've been hurt a lot.
Yes.
That's just a thing, though. Hardly anyone could remember you at all. Probably Asra.
Tension leaves Muriel's shoulders. He lets out a low breath and stands. Has Asra, wiped everyone's memory everywhere? What do you do for a living, Asra? Well, you see, I hold this deck of cards, look pretty cute, and I wipe memories. That's what I do.
That just sounds very manipulative and abusive. If there's something that he's trying to stop, I would get it, but he's not, as far as I can tell, bringing anybody else in on it. I'm wondering also, is that why freaking Faust talks? I know it might not be talking,
Faust does talk.
There is a conversation piece, so I've had this wildly quiet suspicion that Faust is basically a weird manifestation of some massive overarching spell that's controlling literally everything, which is why also Faust is able to communicate and has such a higher level of intelligence.
On the other hand, I was simply going to say, so, you're going to say that what the stand-in is here for Asra is he is representing the Memory Corporation in Endless Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So he's just wiping everyone's bad memories whenever they request it. And going, I'll be accountable for this because I will carry all of your pain.
Especially because there's a memory dealer. He could have been a memory dealer himself, maybe. But except he was, a memory eraser?
Well, on the other hand, maybe you collect them when you erase them. You never know.
Hey,
you might acquire them from... It might be a pensive memory. You just pull it on out of there and you stick it somewhere.
Right? Okay.
Oof. Then he jerks his chin towards me, voice gruff when he speaks. You, follow me. We need some firewood. He trundles out of the hut without another word. That's trundles.
No, trundle? That descriptor. So trundling to me is a very specific action. Thinking of that man trundling?
I mean, Cart's trundle, he's pretty big.
It's fine.
Leaving Julian and I baffled in his wake. I should be going with him in his wake, but Julian...
No, it makes sense, though. Him abruptly going, we need to go get wood, and you go, what?
We exchange a look. Abrupt. Then Julian shrugs and gestures towards the door, lifting an eyebrow. I nod and follow Muriel outside, into the pouring rain. Muriel heads over to a little shed near the hut. I get soaked, with a pile of logs settled beside it. We are both soaked. He sets one on a stump and pulls an axe from its resting place against the tree. I'm going to watch him split the logs in the rain and pick them up. Out of the mud, still soaked.
Yep.
I watch his muscles shift and tense under his rain-slicked skin as he chops the firewood. I try to stay away from flying splinters because that's important. Also axes because that's important.
Like them.
Still soaked. Very soaked. He gathers the logs in his arms and turns back to the hut. Where are the logs that I carry, sir? I'm supposed to be helping you. Move. I step aside. I offer to carry some of the logs. I reach down for some of the logs. I try and do something that he actually indicated that I should be doing and that I came for.
What?
He gives me a wide berth as he heads back inside. We are both completely soaked. I can't keep it up.
Just by the way, we're wet. How about that?
I follow after at a safe distance. I'm just sheeting rain. I slide. He slides as he swings the axe. His feet sink into the mud. I
don't understand.
As we re-enter the small room, I see something glow on his bare neck.
Back.
Thank you. Back. Bare back. I can do this. A mark. Just like the one on Julian's throat. Asra marks his conquests. Pep!
And you I got. And you... So that means Nadia's got one.
Everyone's got one. They're going to have one.
Oh, boy.
It flashes a bright white, just as Julian jumps up and stares at both of us. Water sheeting off of us.
Nerd! What's this big brute you've got with you? Did he try to hurt you? Wait, what?
It makes everyone forget. Just tell me that doesn't make everyone forget.
He's illustrating a point.
He is illustrating a point that no one will remember
That's
him.
What he asked for, was to be forgotten.
Was for everyone not to remember him, so he can wander around the marketplace and no one will remember him because his mark will do that. That's what I extrapolate.
En garde!
Muriel looks startled for a moment and then ignores Julian as he heads over to the fireplace to build up the fire. Julian, he was just here. Don't you remember him?
What are you on about? I think I remember such a hulking presence.
You wouldn't. People forget me.
You made a deal being terrified and afraid and wanting to be left alone and stop being harassed and stop being used.
I am a simple man. I have social anxiety from pain and trauma, and I'd like to be left alone to take care of myself, please.
And Julian's was to give up basically his own body function for a while.
Well, his was just to be able to heal people.
Yeah.
And that was the best way he could do it.
But that does basically threaten your own basically function.
Right.
I don't know how much damage he can actually handle.
I don't either. I was
Like-
gonna say, but there is a level to it. It must have been like, Asra, you're kind of shit at granting wishes.
But I'm also like,
Like, that's Jinn level, weird, sort of twisted wishes.
I know,
It's a
but
little odd.
I mean, but I guess he's trying, and Asra seems kind of guilty.
No, he does. He is trying. I also might be in some of the same place as Julian going, this is what people want, but I don't know if I'm any good at it. And each one I have to interpret separately because it's a one-time request.
Right?
And every person that comes to me is desperate. So it's probably like a mercy thing straight out.
Right?
And you're just doing your best. And then you still have that sort of like reigning guilt.
Right.
So I'm guessing that we have a mark on us too.
Me 12.
All right.
They forget ya. Just like that.
Julian shifts a little awkwardly, then shakes his head and drops down to a rickety stool near a small, worn table. That makes sense why we don't remember him from the prologue then, so
Right.
that's cool. Muriel gives him a disgruntled look, and then keeps poking the fire. Don't you have questions or something for me? Have we met before? How did it happen? I would tend to ask, have we met before, because of the whole memory thing? But I don't know. How did it happen seems a little bit invasive, but it is more direct.
Like, yeah, I think or have we met before is too roundabout.
It might be. Based on
But it's
who he
also
is
like,
right
what
now.
the crap are we trying to ask? That's the thing that I'm getting confused about. Going, well, you got to contact this person. For what, Asra? Like, that's the thing that's bothering me, of being like, Asra,
We're not
set us
bringing it up. Because what I would do is go, we're here to ask you about Julian.
Right.
Going,
We're trying to find out
I am investigating the ostensible murder of the Count.
what happened.
What
Do you
happened?
know anything about this?
Going, yeah, like if you're gonna be direct, it would be like, hey, I'm here to question you about the death of the Count.
Right? Because that's,
Like,
what
that's
we're
it.
trying to do, but we're also trying to, I guess, let Julian go. But I think at the end, the ultimate idea is going, what happened with the Count? Like, that would be like,
Yeah, but we don't have that option, so we're gonna have to be roundabout anyways. But I don't
what
think
is, how did it happen? What is, how did it? What is it?
Meaning, it could be, how did you get involved in the Coliseum? It could be, how did the memory spell
That's like,
happen?
that's
It could
too
be anything.
imprecise.
I'm gonna just pick it, because I want to know
was
what
like-
the heck it is.
I don't get it.
How did it happen? I helped a friend, and I was rewarded in return. I asked for this. I wonder what it would be like to ask for something like that and get it. If it's actually what he wanted.
Wait, we have something. So you mentioned before of going like there was a scene with Asra in the pool, and then we forgot it because we started experiencing pain. What if we asked for our own memories to be erased?
What if we asked him to do something for us, and that's why he's frustrated and guilty, because whatever he did for us continues to affect our interaction with him? In the same way that I was like, if he erased our memory to protect us in some way, like he knows we'll have a freaking stroke if we overload on stress. On the other hand, who is he to determine where the threshold is?
Yeah, I
and
know.
what's going on there?
I'm also like, so is this supposed to be like a game that's kind of like a sort of, I wouldn't even say necessarily game. It's got a couple of things that you
It's
can
a
pick and
story.
choose. It's a story where you're basically trying to decide on the morality of making choices like this.
I
Like
don't know. Like,
extreme-
maybe it's not about dating, it's way more about morality. Like, it does seem to have themes of that. On the other hand, I tend to be like, I don't know why we're asking Muriel about himself. Like, are you happy or that is a blessing? Either one. Like, that is a blessing kind of shuts
I was
down
just
the
asking,
conversation,
are you
but-
happy? Because the thing is, that's a blessing. To be forgotten? Like, the thing
Or
is that's too
to
specific.
get what you asked for could be a blessing, but it could be taken wrong.
I
Are you
just-
happy? Are you happy? Did it work out the way you were hoping? Happy? What's that have to do with anything?
Oh, I keep asking myself the same thing. Seems like we're kindred spirits. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
really desperate not to be left on the sidelines here like them.
Except for, again, he's twice the spirit you are. He's huge.
He's a very large spirit.
Mm.
He's a very large Patronus.
No, we aren't. Another silence falls over the hut. I shift my weight and drip quietly on the floor, then head over to the table and sit down next to Julian. Muriel hovers near the fireplace, glancing at the wolf in worry every so often. I'm so glad we remembered the wolf. That's lovely.
Finally, for once. Well, Muriel, can I call you about Muriel?
No.
Let me just get to the point then, and we'll be out of your hair.
Don't reference the hairbrush.
Shit.
Julian rummages around in his coat pocket before fishing out the key he found in the desk in the library yesterday. How does he know that's what we're supposed to ask about? We got sent here by Asra.
What?
And if that's the thing
Did
that
Asra
he thinks...
freaking go and talk? Oh, I'm fine.
This is the only clue I have. Why aren't we just asking him directly about the whole thing? Becky... Go. You got this.
Recognize this.
I don't.
You're like, hi, clearly, and it's fine.
Yes. It's to my collar. And when you unchain me, I become free. Oh, sorry.
Free. Oh, well, grand then.
I really like the way Julian talks. It's so much fun.
You know, so...
And? Yeah, that's the next thing.
That's exactly like, huh? You care to elaborate?
Muriel sighs, shoulders lifting up and dropping slowly as he gives Julian a begrudging nod. It was the night of the fire. Asra sent me to find you.
Asra was there. You were there. You know Asra. I don't remember any of this.
You were locked in a dungeon.
Oh, locked in a dungeon before the murder? What for?
I don't know, but I let you out. I led you up to his room. You know him. The room was already on fire. You ran in, and I left.
The room was already on fire. I'm innocent?
Only if he died in the fire.
But also, again, this causes a huge problem. If nobody freaking remembers this guy, do you know what that means for Nadia? Nadia won't remember Muriel. So basically, his account will be completely goddamn useless.
On the other hand, if that's what happened, there should have been witnesses of some kind, because despite the fact that the council seems completely empty at all times, there are servants there. They're just not being described. They're supposed to be unseen, so they're not important to the text. You can assume there's servants and guards everywhere, even though they're not being written, if this is accurate castle function. She's not alone all the time in that space.
Yeah, well, I feel like she is, unfortunately, because they do like to mention when servants mill around, and then they like to completely ignore that they would be there.
It's a Barbie castle, okay? Have you ever seen the Barbie movies?
In the Barbie world.
In the Barbie movies, they don't have a lot of animation budget, so there's almost no one in any of the rooms, okay? It just didn't have the budget for it.
Boo. Okay, I'm sorry. I was it's fine.
Julian blinks owlishly down at the brand on his hand, turning it over in the firelight. What about the one on his throat? I mean, he can't look at that.
I don't
It's okay.
Innocent.
You might be. One of his bare hands lifts to idly trace along the arc of his eye patch. The look on his face is stricken and a little hopeful.
I remember now. I was in the dungeon that night, working on a cure. I wasn't making fast enough progress. Richard locked me down there to incentivize me.
You were...
Said it was to keep me from getting distracted, because Astra and I really just... Never mind, I'm not trying that, it's fine.
Because Asra was too busy trying to romance me, and I was really distracted by it. And he was just like, if you're not on the dateable path anymore, pep, then you'll be fine. And Asra was like, go get him out of there, I can't continue the arc.
Quick! I need my solitaire game to finish! I need the achievement!
I gotta have a full deck!
Right?
Alright, I'm like, so if you're told about the memories, then you can remember them? Also going... Were you really the only doctor in the entire city, the entire kingdom working on this problem?
I'm
sorry. There, or were there not?
Don't you know that there were background doctors that just weren't ever mentioned and that you had a physician? Now I'm going to throw it at you because that's my same problem.
I'm just like, how would he be the only person in all of everything that would be working on this at all? And if you want him to hurry, why wouldn't you give him assistance, give him support, give him more people? Manpower is the way to move science forward because you need sous chefs. You need other people to lift beakers and write things down and sort your notes and dance, apparently.
And manpower.
He closes his eye, then looks at me with renewed hope. Something bright dances in his eye.
Ensnarled.
He grins at me and then pulls the eye patch from his face, letting it flutter to the floor.
He does have an eye.
He does. He has another eye. You were right. The typos were just like a typo of
An
not reading your
unfortunate-
character well.
An unfortunate we didn't catch this in the editing. Also the style changed.
No, he's totally differently drawn. Like, absolutely, that's different. He looks way beefier.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, dude.
Like, damn. Also, less fluff on the hair for sure.
And less shoulder.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to tell.
Also, his cloak is gone. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pick out details now because we rarely get to see these, so these are fascinating.
He lost his eyeshadow. Like, largely his makeup is
like
wiped off.
Maybe he wiped it off with his eye patch.
I don't know, maybe.
Look
Anyway.
at me! I'm no longer an MCR fan!
Yeah, oh dear.
I did it! I found the cure!
Did you?
What?
The eye underneath the patch is whole and even working. I can see it slowly open from a squint as he adjusts to the dim light. I think you did the reveal a couple lines too early. But it isn't healthy looking. The sclera is dyed a deep, bloody crimson, the same color of all plague victims' eyes.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was the thing. This is what happens when you're infected with the plague. I was dying. But the cure, it worked! And I could still be down there, in that dungeon. So wait.
Except
hang on.
The plague has cleared, so...
Hang.
I'm hanging, go ahead.
Hang the goat
Scandal,
down.
do it.
Okay, so, do you remember the goat had red eyes?
Yeah.
If that's supposed to be Lucio,
Then he's infected?
then he was infected. So if he ran in there, what if Julian told Asra he'd figured it out? Asra went, oh god, we gotta help you get out, because either maybe Lucio was actually being suicidal or something?
Maybe he just went, I'm never gonna be cured, and destroyed himself.
Maybe? Or he was doing something super extreme, because there's obviously something else going on here, because...
Or he could have been trying to create a cure on his own and had an accident. Like, Bunsen burners can set fires.
Or doing something, and it's like, who knows? Like,
also, I'm wondering, did he die of fire, or was he murdered and then burned? Do we know?
Right?
Like, we don't even know how he died.
Right?
Because there is a difference between burning a body in a fire and, you died in a fire.
Huh.
That's interesting. Could still be down in the dungeon.
Could still be down there in that dungeon. Like, damn.
Like, however many years old it is, because I don't know how long ago that was. He looks triumphant and vindicated. There's a wide wonder in his face. Like he can't quite believe it himself.
I didn't kill the Count. That dungeon has everything. My answers and my cure.
Why didn't anyone else know you were in the dungeon? Why didn't Nadia know? Is everyone...
What about all the servants?
What about all the witnesses? What about whoever locked you down there? What about whoever was bringing you supplies or feeding you? Surely the Count wasn't waiting on you hand and foot to make sure you had a clean bedpan and also had food and water.
What?
That's wild. Someone would have to remember. Like, somebody somewhere would have to remember.
Fascinating, but that brings up a lot more questions than it gives answers, because that's very silly.
It does. Like, that sounds wild. Like, again, unless, there's a massive amount of, memory, just loss spreaded everywhere, which could explain anything.
I feel like there's even a much bigger event that happened then. Like, Muriel's breaking out memories of himself, but there's something overall that seems to be going on that feels much more involved.
Yeah, it does. That's wild.
Huh.
All right, so if you have thoughts on any of our various headcanons or our interpretations, again, we're playing this blind, we're not looking for spoilers, it'd be lovely to hear from you. Or if you had a fun time with us in this series and you'd like to share it with any of your friends or help promote us, we would love that.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous. Anyway, so this has been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And
it was great playing with you. Bye!